Alright everyone, so today is September 4th, 2018. It's the first day of the month and the first day of this week. We had a long weekend for Labor Day, so the market was closed on Monday yesterday. And today was a pretty awesome day. I took 3 trades, 3 wins, so 100% consistency, and I love that. That's exactly what I was planning to do. Followed my plans, made plans for all of my trades, and executed them perfectly. I didn't chase anything. I didn't trade in anything spontaneously. I was able to keep a cool, level head, and yeah, it was awesome. I'm looking forward to the following days. Hopefully, I can keep doing the same thing. And I hate to say it, but I have to uh have to acknowledge that part of the reason why I was able to stay so level headed is because I wasn't live streaming. I could totally tell, um, you know, when I was trading today that not having to worry about having other people just watch over and kind of uh stare down on my trading style kind of it released a weight off my shoulders, and I was able just to trade how the charts told me to. So maybe in the future I'll be able to live trade again once I'm a lot more confident with my strategy, and like once I'm using a lot bigger size and it's just uh easy to me. But still, right now I'm not a perfect trader. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. But the great thing is that I am consistent. So now it's just a matter of fact of refining my consistency and refining my strategy and just understanding that my pattern works and being confident with that. So, like I said, maybe in the future I will start live streaming again, but I think right now this is the best course of action for me and for you guys, because if I'm not trading correctly, then how can you really learn from me? So, with that out of the way, we're going to break down my trades today. So we had not MNKD. I traded INNT, NCTY, and the PPCB. Let me just bring up my charts real fast. So I have these charts of exactly how I played these straight from our new community. So here is INNT, very, very simple breakout there. I only played with 300 shares since I wasn't buying into a dip. Right now, I'm really focusing on dip buying. I have just gone over all of my data, and I found out this weekend that I am a lot more consistent with dip buying. I still do good with breakouts, but what I've noticed is that I size in too much during a breakout, and then because of the price fluctuations during a breakout, I get stuffed, or not stuffed, stopped out. So I figured, okay, I will just use size in dip buying, but when I'm buying a breakout, I'm just going to reduce my size so I don't get stopped out so easily. So that's exactly what I did here on INNT. Bought the breakout of 740 line. I got filled at 750, and I sold real quick into the 785s. Looking back at INNT now, let's see what it did right. Let's see what it did wrong. Best thing to do in type of situations, I always recommend everyone, all the members in the community, to always just go back and review your trades. How can you grow as a trader, and how can you progress if you don't follow and track what you did wrong? It's impossible. You just keep going into the market every single day, trading the same way you are every day without learning and growing. So the number one key rule of trading is that you have to go back and you have to review your trades. Do a daily recap. Heck, even make a video lesson. You can post it in the chat room, and I'm sure people would love it. I'd love to watch it personally. And even if you can't make a video lesson, just like make a 2 or 3 paragraph type out of just you recapping your trades, what you did right, what you did wrong, if you followed your plan, if you got emotional. It's very important to track your trades as a trader. That's what I'm doing now. I'm going to be posting all of my entries and exits using this like chart, because then it's a lot easier, not just seeing the P&L, but rather how I played the stock and where I bought and where I sold. So having the visual graph like this, where you can see, okay, he bought at the breakout and sold into strength. It's a lot easier to see on the chart rather than just looking at the order fills. So INNT, I bought the breakout over 740 right here. So I did do pretty well. In the moment, I took my profits almost near the top, so that was a really good job. Like I said, I sold at 785, and I took my profits, you know, right here. Now we do see that it hit a high of $8, and this level wasn't really established until afterward. So I would not have known to hold on any longer. And then, as we can see, after that hit, we did have a pullback which broke through and hit 733. So, I'm pretty glad I took my profits, because it would have just ended up all the way back down to where I entered anyways. So it would have been kind of a wasted trade. Now, it did go higher later on in the day, but overall my plan was only to have the quick scalp. So I believe I played this perfectly. I didn't hold on for too long. I used my small size, so I wasn't able to get stopped out by the price fluctuation. So overall, great trade. Next one I did was on NCTY. So NCTY was a nice morning spike today. I believe I released news. Yeah, they announced their purchase plan by the chairman and CEO. So of course, if the company is going to buy back shares, that causes lots of hype and lots of volatility. If we look at the float on NCTY real fast, why the float is around 7.73 million, so very low float. So with that good news and that low float, it causes lots of volatility. So let's just look at my trades real fast on NCTY. Get my chart up. Alrighty, so overall I did really good on NCTY. I loved how I played this one. Once again, I followed my plan perfectly. My plan on NCTY, once it popped up on the scanner, I looked at the news and I looked at if it was easy to borrow or hard to borrow on TD Ameritrade. Now, why this is important? Well, if a stock is easy to borrow on TD Ameritrade and it's a low float stock that looks like it's junk, you can assume that a lot of the newer traders who want to start shorting are going to think, oh, this is a stock that is up on pretty bad news. It should fall back down. So they're going to enter on this very early and short into the first push. I would never recommend ever shorting a low float stock on the first rally. That's just dangerous. You have to wait until it shows weakness. Wait until it retests VWAP and fails. You can't short this early. So fortunately, there were traders who shorted this way too early, and I took advantage of that because I knew that how this was consolidating here around VWAP, right on top of VWAP, I knew that it was going to have another. The starter position I had was 500 shares at 158. So you can see I'm scaling into my position. I'm not buying everything at once. I have a starter position, and then when I see the ramp up of volume, I add in shares. I had the starter at 158. It wasn't the best fill. I'm actually not sure why I was filled high. I was using limit orders on this, so I had 500 shares at 158. Held for a few minutes, and then as it was having a huge acceleration of buying in level 2, I added in 2,000 more shares, which was 4. And I sold into the top, sold 2,000 at 1, logging in my gains. And then the last 500 shares I top ticked here near at 187. So very nice. And in the moment, essentially what I saw was just we had this nice morning push. Then we had consolidation on top of VWAP where it was slowly grinding higher. It wasn't really pulling back too much. And on every pullback, it was being bought up immediately. So look at the daily chart real fast. I do believe that 150 was the level of resistance chart. No, not exactly, but that right here on like 15th and 17th, we did have some days that stopped out just around 147. So that did act as some $half numbers are always very significant levels. So very simply, the whole plan was that we would see another leg up, and that was based on the fact that the stock was easy to borrow on TD Ameritrade and the fact that it was its first green day on news. So as we know, lots of short sellers like to short into strength, and sometimes they short a bit too early, so they get squeezed out and have to buy back their shares. It causes a big pop. So my plan was, okay, let me buy like a starter here in this consolidation, because I don't know yet if it is going to break out or crack. So I don't want to go all in here with full size. I just want to add in small shares, and then I have a starter core position. Once I see my confirmation of the breakout, I'm going to add more shares, because at this point I have a good average and I'm able to add into the winner. Got the breakout over 1.7, 6, and we higher. Now, one thing about this trade that I do not like is how the starter trade was filled at 158. That was too high of a fill. I should have been more patient, and I should have left my limit order down underneath 150, like in the 147s, 148s. I should have had my fill there, because mine filled at 158. And you look at the candle, that's like up here, like the top, all up in this candle. I'm actually not sure how it filled at 158 when it says the high is 156. Probably has to do with commissions. But yeah, so I should have left my limit order down lower and let the trade come to me, but I was a bit anxious. Thankfully, it worked out in my favor. So I didn't follow my plan perfectly, because my plan was to buy into the weakness in this consolidation, and then once we see the ramp up in volume, then I buy on the ask and I buy the breakout. But it seems like on this trade, I bought on the ask with my starter and my ads, so not the safest thing to do. Thankfully, it worked out in this trade, but it could have ended up pretty dangerous. And then you can see later on in the day, I did rebuy NCTY. I was trying to buy the dip on the VWAP. I had an average total of 3,000 shares. Now this wasn't one order. This was, I believe, 3 orders, like spread out in the 180s and high 170s. You can see I eventually took this one out on a loss because I saw lower highs. So I took a loss in this one around 5 cents a share. Overall, I'm still green on the day on NCY, and overall with all my trades, not so bad. Last trade I took was the PPCB, or the PPCB, sorry. Has been running on the OTC market since the 24th. It can start out at half a cent, and now it hit 20 cents today. So astronomical move. And I just kept watching this squeeze higher and higher and higher, and I never played it. But finally today, I said, you know what, enough is enough. Let me locate a good area for a breakout. And I just, had a quick look at the daily chart, and very obviously, March 14th, high of day at 15 cents. Same thing happened here on February 9th, cents, and early February also 15. Very, very obvious resistance at 15 cents. And of course, we have the fact of the round number. 10 cents, 15 cents, 20 cents. These are round numbers, so they're going to cause big, big breakouts. So looking at the daily chart, obviously had resistance at 15 cents. And I played this one actually perfectly. It did exactly what I thought it was going to do. I even said in the chat room that my plan was essentially watch for a breakout. I said it's a big breakout on the daily chart. I would take profits into this push and then look to re-enter on a bounce off of 150. Would be the safest play in my opinion. So I did everything there perfectly, but I did not take profits into a little push. I actually bought here, let me up the for you. So I bought 30,000 shares prior to the breakout, anticipating it just growing my starter position. I held through the breakout, and I was looking, okay, if this holds and reconfirms the previous resistance as support at 15 cents, I'm gonna add in more because it's gonna explode. And as you can see, it did just that. And then of course I took profits into strength. I didn't know where it was going to end up, but I'm just, I'm taking off shares into the strength, guaranteeing my profits. So you can see how I've been trading. I scale into my position and I scale out of my position. I don't just have one bullet and take one shot. I like to spread out my shares to allow the stock to move around and work itself. And this has been working really well for me. I'm just looking at the simple levels of support and resistance and scaling in and scaling out as I see fit. So PPCP, awesome breakout. Like I said, about right here, held through, push up to the 5.7s or the 15.7, held through the pullback, and I rebought as I saw strength, and it loaded. A very awesome trade. It actually went even higher than I expected it to. Went over 20 cents, but that's just fine. I just care about the meat of the move and the main, the core play. I don't want to hit the top. I don't hit the perfect bottom. It's nice when I do, but I don't aim to do it, because the minute that you try to aim to do it, like say for here on PPP, say that after this trade I was like, oh man, if I just held on for a bit longer, I could have, made another 5 cents per share. Next time I do it around, I'm gonna try and hold on for those 5 cents per share, and it'll just crash on me, and I'll break even or even lose on the trades. So focus on your strategy, focus on your discipline, focus on your rules. Just because something happens on one trade does not mean that you have to change your strategy and squeeze out more profits. Of course, you can experiment with this by, let's say, instead of like taking off your size here, you take off like 75% of your shares and then hold the rest, but never hold all your shares. Always take profit off as you get wins, because that's how you stay consistent. If you locking in wins, even if they're small wins, you're gonna stay consistent. And if you pair that with always having a planned stop loss, keeping that a very small stop loss, you will become consistent. It is just a matter of time. So main lessons for today, guys, I want everyone to start doing a daily recap. And even if you don't do a daily recap, just make sure that you track your trades in Excel.